are not, it will be attrition. We are not firing agents. They will be working.
How many have taken attrition?
Can I tell you that they all want to be on the streets? They want to be doing their jobs.
August 14th, 2024, 5:47 a.m., Clearfield County, Pennsylvania. The convoy of black SUVs rolled past the wrought iron gate at the entrance to Whispering Pines Ranch. No sirens, no flashing lights. Just the crunch of gravel under tactical tires and the gray pre-dawn silence of rural Pennsylvania farmland. Federal agents from the FBI and Immigration and Customs Enforcement stepped out into the morning mist, their tactical vests marked with agency insignia, their faces set with the particular expression that comes from knowing exactly what they're about to find. The ranch belonged to Judge Marcus Aldridge, a 23-year veteran of the Pennsylvania Superior Court system, a man who had presided over hundreds of immigration cases, a pillar of the community, a grandfather of 5. The property sprawled across 47 acres of prime countryside, featuring a main residence valued at $1, $2 million, 3 outbuildings, a stable complex, and meticulously maintained grounds that spoke of substantial wealth and careful stewardship. The agents weren't there to admire the landscaping. They were there because of a single anomaly in utility records. An electrical consumption pattern that made no sense for a residential property of this size. Power usage that spiked at irregular intervals, always during late-night hours, always in quantities that suggested industrial operations rather than domestic activity. The pattern had triggered an algorithm. The algorithm had triggered a deeper investigation, and the deeper investigation had pulled back curtain after curtain on something far worse than anyone had anticipated. The discovery that changed everything. Agent Sarah Chen, lead investigator for the FBI's Human Trafficking Task Force, walked the perimeter of the largest outbuilding first. A structure officially permitted as an equipment barn. She noted the reinforced door locks, the ventilation system far more sophisticated than any barn required, the complete absence of any agricultural equipment inside. What she found instead were holding cells, 12 of them, constructed with commercial-grade steel bars and reinforced concrete, each measuring approximately 8 feet by 10 feet, each containing a metal cot frame, a bucket, and nothing else. The walls showed scratch marks, desperate messages carved into concrete, dates, names, prayers written in Spanish, Arabic, and languages Chen couldn't immediately identify. But it was the door at the back of the building that stopped her cold. A door that shouldn't have been there, according to any building permit on file. A door that opened onto a staircase descending into darkness, a staircase that led to a tunnel stretching 340 feet underground, connecting the outbuilding to a secondary structure hidden behind a tree line at the far edge of the property. The tunnel was 7 feet high and 4 feet wide, reinforced with concrete and ventilation shafts. Lit by industrial lead strips powered by its own electrical system. It was not some hastily dug escape route. This was infrastructure. This was planning. This was systematic. At the tunnel's far end, federal agents found what they would later describe in court documents as a processing facility. Computer workstations containing databases of hundreds of individuals, passport forgery equipment, cash counting machines, and file cabinets holding documentation that would unravel one of the largest judicial corruption cases in Pennsylvania history. The paper trail of betrayal. Judge Marcus Aldridge's official salary was $195,000 per year. His wife, Rebecca Aldridge, worked as a consultant earning approximately $80,000 annually. Combined household income, $275,000. Comfortable, but not extravagant by professional standards. Yet the financial forensics team found something that didn't add up. Multiple offshore accounts in the Cayman Islands totaling $4.7 million. Cash deposits to various domestic banks over a 7-year period exceeding $8.2 million. Real estate holdings beyond the ranch, including 2 properties in Florida, a condo in Delaware, and commercial property in Philadelphia, collectively valued at $3.4 million. A portfolio of luxury vehicles, including a Mercedes S-Class, a Range Rover, and a vintage Porsche 911. The money had to come from somewhere. It came from human beings. The evidence recovered from the ranch's computer systems revealed a network operating with corporate efficiency. Aldridge had systematically exploited his position on the bench to identify vulnerable individuals in immigration proceedings, those without legal representation, those without family connections in the United States, those whose cases could be delayed, dismissed, or manipulated without raising immediate red flags in the system. He would offer them a choice, not in open court, of course, never on the record, but in private chambers, through intermediaries, through whispered conversations in courthouse hallways. Work off your legal fees through agricultural labor opportunities. Accept temporary placement while your case was being processed. Trust the system. Trust the judge. They trusted him. He trafficked them. The network of enablers. Judge Aldridge did not operate alone. The investigation ultimately identified 17 co-conspirators spanning 3 states and multiple jurisdictions. Robert Chen, a court clerk in Aldridge's chambers for 9 years, processed the paperwork. He manipulated case files. He altered records. He ensured that certain individuals never showed up in official databases. He was arrested at his home in State College at 6:15 a.m. on the same morning as the ranch raid. Federal agents found $340,000 in cash hidden in his garage inside vacuum-sealed bags. Maria Delgado operated what appeared to be a legitimate agricultural labor placement agency based in Reading, Pennsylvania. Her business, Green Valley Agricultural Services, served as the front for recruitment operations. She received referrals from Aldridge through encrypted communications. She arranged transportation. She processed payments. When agents raided her offices, they found ledgers documenting transactions totaling more than $12 million over 6 years. She had been taking a 15% commission on every person moved through the system. Thomas Bradford, a private attorney who frequently appeared before Aldridge, served as a fixer. He handled the legal complexities. He drafted the contracts that appeared legitimate on surface examination, but contained clauses that effectively created debt bondage. He established the shell companies that laundered the money. He operated from a prestigious law office in Pittsburgh, his mahogany desk and corner office view providing perfect cover for criminal operations that federal prosecutors would later describe as slavery with paperwork. The network extended further. A transportation company owner who moved people in refrigerated trucks, 2 ICE employees who provided advance warning of enforcement actions, a bail bondsman who helped identify vulnerable targets, a real estate agent who facilitated property acquisitions used as secondary holding facilities. Each person had a role. Each person took a cut. Each person believed they wouldn't get caught. They were wrong. The 89 cases that haunted investigators. As agents worked through the recovered documentation, a pattern emerged that turned investigative determination into something more personal. 89 case files with Aldridge's notations. 89 individuals who had appeared before him in immigration proceedings over a 7-year period. 89 people who had subsequently vanished from official records, not deported, not released, not transferred to other detention facilities, simply gone. Maria Santos, age 24, from Honduras, last seen entering Aldridge's chambers for a hearing on June 3, 2019. Case file marked dismissed. Subject departed jurisdiction voluntarily. No documentation of departure. No follow-up. Nothing. Ahmed Hassan, age 31, from Somalia, appeared for asylum hearing on February 17, 2020. Case continued indefinitely. No subsequent appearances recorded. No current location listed. Phone number disconnected. Emergency contacts report no communication since his hearing date. The list went on. And on. And on. Some had been recovered during the raid. 12 individuals found in the holding cells, malnourished and terrified, blinking in the sudden illumination of tactical flashlights. 7 more located at 2 secondary properties in surrounding counties. 4 discovered working at a construction site in New Jersey, living in conditions federal investigators classified as modern slavery. But the math didn't work. 19 recovered, 89 missing. Where were the other 70? That question haunted the investigation. Federal agents expanded their search. They excavated sections of the ranch property. They investigated every property connected to the criminal network. They followed every financial transaction to its endpoint. Some victims were eventually located, working in restaurant kitchens in Philadelphia under false identities, employed at warehouses in Ohio, living in fear, too terrified to come forward even after news of Aldridge's arrest became public. Others remain missing. Their families still search, their cases still open, their fates unknown. The coordinated takedown. The arrests happened simultaneously across 3 states. At 5:47 a.m. on August 14, 2024, federal agents executed 23 search warrants and arrested 17 individuals. The operation involved 127 federal agents, 34 state police officers, and tactical teams from multiple jurisdictions. It had been planned for 3 months. Every detail choreographed, every contingency anticipated. Judge Marcus Aldridge was taken into custody in his bedroom. He was wearing silk pajamas. He asked for his attorney before he asked what the charges were. His wife Rebecca was arrested simultaneously, led from the house in handcuffs as the sun began to rise over the property she had helped purchase with blood money. The other arrests followed like dominoes falling. Robert Chen at his home, Maria Delgado at her office as she arrived for work, Thomas Bradford in the parking garage of his downtown Pittsburgh law firm. Each arrest captured on body camera footage. Each individual processed through the federal system with methodical precision. The evidence was overwhelming. Financial records, computer databases, victim testimony, physical evidence from the ranch facilities, communications intercepts. The case wasn't built on circumstantial inference. It was built on documentation so extensive that defense attorneys would later admit privately they had advised their clients to negotiate plea agreements rather than face trial. The reckoning in federal court. The trial began on March 3, 2025, in the United States District Court for the Western District of Pennsylvania. Judge Aldridge faced 47 federal charges including human trafficking, forced labor, mail fraud, wire fraud, money laundering, conspiracy to obstruct justice, and deprivation of rights under color of law. The prosecution presented 89 witnesses over 6 weeks. Immigration attorneys testified about unusual case dispositions. Financial experts explained the money trails. Forensic analysts documented the physical evidence. And victims told their stories. Their testimony was devastating. One woman described being held at the ranch for 14 months. She detailed the work schedule, 18-hour days during harvest season. No pay beyond room and board. Threats that she would be immediately deported if she complained. Promises that her case was being handled and she just needed to be patient. Descriptions of other workers who had tried to escape and were brought back by armed men who worked for the network. A man testified about being told by Judge Aldridge himself, in chambers with no court reporter present, that his asylum case could be expedited if he agreed to temporary agricultural work placement. He described being transported to the ranch in a windowless van, being held in one of the cells in the outbuilding, being forced to work in fields belonging to associated properties, being told constantly that he owed money for legal fees, for housing, for food, and that his debt kept growing no matter how much he worked. The testimony continued, day after day, week after week. An accumulation of human suffering that painted a portrait of systematic exploitation operating behind the respectable facade of the American justice system. Judge Aldridge showed no emotion. He sat at the defense table in an expensive suit, taking notes, occasionally whispering to his attorneys. The man who had presided over hundreds of cases from the bench now sat silently as his own judgment approached. The jury deliberated for 8 hours. They returned guilty verdicts on all 47 counts. The sentencing and aftermath. On July 22, 2025, United States District Judge Patricia Morrison delivered the sentences. Marcus Aldridge received 45 years in federal prison without possibility of parole. He was 61 years old at sentencing. He will be 106 years old when his sentence expires. Judge Morrison's statement was brief and pointed. You perverted the very system designed to protect the vulnerable. You weaponized your authority to enslave human beings. This court finds no mitigating circumstances worthy of consideration. Rebecca Aldridge received 15 years for conspiracy and money laundering charges. Robert Chen received 12 years. Maria Delgado received 25 years. Thomas Bradford received 18 years. The remaining co-conspirators received sentences ranging from 3 to 10 years. The criminal network was dismantled. Assets totaling $16.3 million were seized and designated for victim compensation. The Pennsylvania Supreme Court launched an investigation into judicial oversight procedures. Congress held hearings on gaps in immigration detention monitoring. Reforms were proposed. Committees were formed. Reports were written. But 70 people remain missing. 70 case files sit in federal storage, marked as open investigations. 70 families still wait for phone calls that may never come. 70 individuals who trusted the American justice system and found themselves trapped in something far worse. The Whispering Pines Ranch sits empty now. The building sealed. The property scheduled for auction with proceeds designated for victim restitution. The tunnel remains, a concrete monument to systematic evil disguised as agricultural infrastructure. And somewhere in offices across Pennsylvania and beyond, judges continue to preside over immigration cases. Most are honest. Most uphold their oaths. Most would be horrified by what Marcus Aldridge did. But the question lingers, how many more are there? How many other networks operate behind legitimate facades? How many other tunnels remain undiscovered? The investigation continues. Federal task forces remain active. Whistleblower hotlines remain open, but the fundamental truth remains uncomfortable and unavoidable. The system failed to detect this operation for 7 years. The checks and balances designed to prevent such exploitation were insufficient. Marcus Aldridge is serving his sentence at a federal penitentiary in Pennsylvania. He has filed multiple appeals. All have been denied. He maintains his innocence despite overwhelming evidence and unanimous jury conviction. His attorney released a statement calling the charges politically motivated and the sentence excessive. The 12 people rescued from the holding cells that August morning have been granted protective status. Some are rebuilding their lives. Others struggle with trauma. None will ever forget the judge who promised them justice and delivered imprisonment instead. This is the story of how a federal judge betrayed his oath, exploited the vulnerable, and operated a human trafficking network hidden beneath the respectable surface of American jurisprudence. This is the story of how he was caught, prosecuted, and imprisoned. This is the story of 89 missing cases and 70 people still unaccounted for. This is the story of Whispering Pines Ranch. And it is not over yet.